Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the Free-to-Play Cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, aka... Man, there's a joke there that nobody would get. Nobody is gonna get why I laughed there, even if we explained it wouldn't be funny. Never mind, a FooBard recording at the beginning. Don't get your hopes up. It's just not gonna be. It's just not gonna be amazing. Yes, so it's June 29th. We're recording. You're watching it on June 30th or later. We've got all the free-to-play news of early access, head starts, reviews, boosts. We're gonna talk about it all. But first, let's get to the other hosts. First up, Mr. Jason Winter. How are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. And someday we have to do an outtakes video compilation or something.
We've talked about doing it before, man, but we just. Some of them we can't air to the public.
Well, yeah, sure.
Also on the line, possibly from this location for the last time. Who knows? She's moving again. Quintlin Bowers, a.k.a. Q. How are you?
I just realized that everybody will be watching this on my birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Happy birthday tomorrow. Or if you're watching the Free-to-Play Cast right now, happy birthday today.
Woof.
Woof, 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 woof.
Yes, that would be girly. Doing girly things.
Let's get started with the news. Alright, what do we got first? We got Riders of Icarus. Alright, so this is one, the MMORPG Nexon. I've been pretty excited about it. Yeah, it's very traditional, tab targeting, and, you know, FedEx quests, escort quests, that whole thing, and even the action combat is, you know, it's just a sticky tab. Whatever. Catch the mounts and everything. I've been generally pretty excited. Early access finally started today, so if you have a Founders Pack, you are able to jump into the Head Start, I should say, not Early Access, which could be confused for shitty Early Access. The open beta starts on July 6th if you didn't buy a Founders Pack, so you got a week to wait, but that's alright. I don't want to talk too much about our thoughts about the game. We've already done that, Jason, when we did the first look, when we did the first look review on the following free-to-play cast. But I do want to talk about some things that we now know for sure that we've kind of just speculated on in the past. Things like the cash shop, the content level of things in the game, stuff like that. So let's start. I think the cash shop is a great place to start. We've speculated on that, particularly with Western and Eastern differences. We know in the Eastern game that Illunes, the currency you can farm up in-game or buy with cash straight out, does have an impact on enchanting end-game gear, and we were wondering how big of an impact is that going to be in the Western market and pay to win and blah, 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 blah. We got a bit of information even prior to the Head Start starting about the cash shop here. I'm going to read this to you. Actually, I could probably just... probably shouldn't display this.
Trying not to get too complex, man.
No, I can display it, but I'm trying to think if I ever got this is internal consumption only type deal.
Ah, okay.
So I'm just going to read some of this stuff to you. We Made, the company behind the game, has tailored the Riders of Icarus cash shop for its release in the Western market, with the goal to ensuring paying players can't gain any competitive advantages not available to non-paying players. Basically PR speak, right? I mean, we hear that with every game, Q.
True.
Items available in the cash shop will include pet boxes, familiar costumes, character costumes, convenience items, health mana potions, warp passes, buffs such as Mount XP potions, and premium service, basically their subscription service, which offers combinations of other items found in the shop available in 30, 90, and 100-day subscriptions. So far, so good, Jason? I mean, this all seems pretty run-of-the-mill.
Basic stuff, yeah. Yep.
Nearly all items in the cash shop can be purchased with earned currency, Illunes, which will be awarded for achievements and missions, daily, weekly, and monthly. Only premium service and certain specialty packages cannot be purchased with Illunes. Makes sense, they're not putting in like a Plex system, Q, where you can earn subscription time by using an in-game currency. So that makes sense. If you want the sub, you gotta pay for it. Who else does that? Rift, don't they, with Rex? Where you can you use the Rex credits for subscriptions?
WoW does it.
Yeah, basically WoW does it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's right, with the tokens. So, okay. Fine, they don't want to do it, but I wouldn't have had a problem if they did. I don't think you guys would have either, right?
No.
Now, here's where it gets fun. So, you need to be able to farm Illunes in-game even if it's slower, just to create the balance that they're looking for. And so this was our initial piece of information. Riders of Icarus has been optimized to allow players to earn illusions easily and rather quickly.
Optimized.
Optimized. Example, playing an hour a day will allow you to obtain more than 100 free illusions per month. Okay, fine. I have no frame of reference for 100 illusions at the point we got this information, but play an hour a day, which I don't think is unreasonable for too many people. Maybe you play 2 or 3 hours on Saturday and you don't play Sunday and Monday. It all averages out. You get 100 illusions a month. But then they went a little further and said playing about 3 hours a day will allow you to obtain more than 200 free illusions per month. So, Q, if you triple the time investment, we'll double. Yeah, we'll double what we kick back to you. But then it went even further. Playing first off, an hour a day, 3 hours a day. Okay, I can see all of us and most people watching this show maintaining somewhere in that ballpark of an average. But then they just went apeshit crazy with the next example. And they said playing 9 plus hours a day. 9 plus hours a day will allow you to obtain close to 300 illusions per month. So if you give us 9 times the investment per day, Q, we'll give you 3 times the investment back in illusions. I just thought that last line probably should not have been there.
I'd like to submit my resignation so I can go play a free-to-play game for 9 hours a day in order to have in-game currency.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, when you find that game that you love, there are periods of times where, okay, maybe you spend a little bit more time on it per day than you should for a little bit. But, you know, even with Jason and you in Guild Wars 2, you weren't pumping out 9 hours a day in Guild Wars 2, even the first month after launch.
The first day it came out, I did play 10 hours.
Right, and
after that, I think I did
totally
like
could see
5 or
it.
6 the next day. And after that, yeah, maybe 3 or 4 a day for when I was really into it. But yeah, not every day for a month.
And obviously, everybody watching the show knows Final Fantasy XIV is my MMO, my premier MMO of choice. It's my top slot right now, and has been for 2 or 3 years now. Well, since Realm Reborn came out, even in the rating, and which I periodically go in and out of, it's just I'm not hitting 9 hours a day, Q. I'm just not. I'm not even coming close to 9 hours a day. And even when the expansion launches and the new update launches, yeah, I probably sit on my ass for about 4 or 5 hours and play it to get through the content and everything. But 9 plus, and then you add on top that this isn't World of Warcraft where there's 8 million players, and yeah, there's probably a small percentage of those people that maybe are playing for 9 hours. The professional raid teams, the world firsts, those people, they put in some serious time. But to send this as a casual player notice saying, Q, if you give us 9 hours a day, we'll hit you with some free illusions, I thought was just pretty silly. At open beta, players will be able to acquire more than 500 additional illusions free via achievements, but those are all, they're great, but they're all one-time shots. As soon as you get the achievements, which playing today, I've already gotten a few. I think I picked up a total of 10 illusions on 3 or 4 different achievements, 2, 4, 2, that type of deal. So once you get them, they're gone. And to give you a frame of reference, They also said cash shop items range in price from 1 to 100 illusions, with most costing an average of 25 illusions. So Q, overall impressions of the information we had a day or two before Head Start started.
So cash shop wise, I mean, I do like that they at least took the time to lay out what this, what you're going to have to invest time wise in order to get this, and the fact that you can get get the stuff just by playing the game. But I do think their expectations might be a little high for the average player.
Wait, so you're not going to play for 9 hours?
Would you like me to write things at any point during the day?
Oh yeah, I guess like, and if you wanted to go to the bathroom or eat, I mean, there's
enough time for that. You got that plus 8 hours of sleep. That gives you what, another 7 hours to do everything you need. I mean, that's plenty of time.
How much free time do you need, for crying out loud? Jason, you and I talked about these comments back and forth last week. You know, obviously they were off the record at that time. We couldn't share any of those details yet. But even both of us behind the scenes were like, okay, we are like gamers that do this as a profession too, so we probably have more time than the average gamer, and we still aren't hitting these numbers.
Even when I was like unemployed completely and had nothing to do all day, I wasn't spending 9 hours total on all games for a day.
No, your ass was looking for a job.
No. I wasn't even doing that. When I was just being a lazy son of a bitch, I was just sitting there and going, 5-6 hours a day, maybe playing games, But
I mean, 5 to 6 hours is like the max for me before I just start feeling ill from sitting at the computer. Like,
we got a dev blog that came out today, and we'll get into one or two of the pieces of content, but it also expounded upon the whole free-to-play idea. And I gotta say, and I'm gonna pick some pieces out of here. I don't want to read the whole thing to you. We put an article on mmobomb.com discussing the high level and a link to it, so definitely check it out. But I gotta say this before we even get into it. Everybody on here read that dev blog, right? Particularly the free-to-play cash shop sections, Q.
right.
Yeah, okay, good. This, I actually am pretty impressed reading this at the level of thought, effort, and customizing to a Western market that it seems like they've done. Like, I expected it to just be all PR speak a month ago when they said, yeah, we're going to customize it to the West. They have actually gone in here and made some pretty substantial changes. And we didn't know the dev blog was coming, but Nexon did know we were going to talk about the show, or talk about the cash shop on today's show. And so they said, do you need any more information? And I sent over the immediate question of endgame gear, enchanting, tempering, that type of thing, being heavily Eloons based with heavy penalties in the East, and was it going to be like that in the West? And they sent over the information in this dev blog. So here's their focus on free-to-play. And again, they want people to enjoy it in a Western audience. Substantially expand the opportunities for players to earn Eloons, the premium currency, via gameplay. Now remember, this post came after the information we got. Lower the costs and penalties for upgrading equipment through tempering, or at some levels, completely remove the penalties. And overhaul the items in Alora's shop, the in-game cash shop, so that the items for sale in Western regions would not provide a competitive advantage that cannot be achieved through gameplay. Now, they go on to talk about how they're going to pass out free Eloons, and they did change some of these numbers. During open beta, dedicated Riders of Icarus players can earn up to 250 free Eloons, $25 value each month. Keep in mind, though, 250, right? Put you in between 3 and 9 hours, so 7.5.
if they're keeping that same sort of time frame requirement,
Right.
they don't mention in the dev blog. So
And nearly 600 free Eloons through one-time achievements, so that went up 100. The ways in which Eloons can be obtained through gameplay will continue to be expanded as we release new content. And then on the equipment tempering in North America and Europe, tempering allows players to upgrade their equipment stats in Riders of Icarus. Players will temper their gear throughout the game, but you'll primarily use tempering in the end game, where you can increase your equipment's performance to defeat the game's most difficult challenges. In previous releases, this system had harsh, I mean, they're saying it, had harsh and punishing penalties as the item level increased, even up to item destruction. We understand that these experiences can lessen the enjoyment for players, so our team decided to completely remove the item level reset and item destruction penalties in tempering. The Eloon cost curve was also adjusted so that players could wield upgraded weapons with the Eloons that they earn through gameplay. We've also lowered the chance to fail tempering to level 10, which is many levels later than before. Dedicated players could put in more hours to get their weapons to maximum, but the focus was to make tempering optional, more accessible to all players as well. Thoughts on that, Jason? Because that was a huge concern.
yeah, it is good that they are at least removing the destruction possibility, and as they say, making it a little more easy to get along with. I do wonder at the point though that they say you can do this all with the Eloons you earn through gameplay, but do I have to play the game 9 hours a day for a month to get those Eloons? Because remember, anything can be acquired through gameplay. A lot of games have that. If you spend 8,000 hours a month playing it and get all the free cash that way, anything can be earned through gameplay. So I'd want to know what those ratios are and what it actually take. How often you'll need the stones or whatever from the alloons. How often you'll need them. How many you'll need. How quickly you can farm up those alloons. If I can only get like one of those every other month, but I need 3 per month, then it's not really doable through gameplay.
They also went into other aspects of the cash shop. Costumes, by the way, in the West will not have stats attached to it, so North American and Europe. Holy hell! Good sweet mother.
The dogs do not like the cash shop.
North American and Europe Riders of Icarus players will not have bonus stats attached to the costumes, and they're permanent, not duration-based. Thank God. Those are good things. On that topic, skins for your familiars don't just change the look of your mountain pet. They can provide speed and health boosts. True to our free-to-play philosophy, familiar skins, though, will be available in Alora's shop as well as through gameplay, so you can actually obtain the skins themselves through gameplay. Here's a big one, and one that Zach brought up. We've removed talismans, items that provide buffs for the first 60 days. We've moved talismans to the Founders Packs exclusively. So you cannot buy those, and they will run out after 60 days. No big deal. I know Zach was worried about that one. Could it be something that was required for PvP? Or you just got mowed down. There are random lockboxes. They said they've reduced the number of items that are available in there so that you have a greater chance of getting the one you want. All the skins found in the Lucky Box are also available in the Lucky Coin Shop. And, yeah, so and we're going to make changes over time based on feedback, but this is what we changed for launch. Q, I'm kind of impressed. You?
Yeah, I mean, just the fact alone that they're, willing to adjust it so that, even non-paying players can pretty much have access to all this stuff is, it's really good on them.
And it looks like, Jason, they hit all the hot buttons. All the Western audience hot buttons. Duration things, buffs, talismans, endgame enchanting. I mean, they hit all the specifics. It wasn't just this generic, we're going to try not to make it pay to win. We'll do our best. They targeted exactly what Western audiences seem to hate the most.
Yeah, this is a really good job by them of communicating their intentions. And, as I've always said, the big thing people are always going to look at in your game is how the money works. How are the microtransactions going to go? How are things going to be priced? And in fact, they took this directly. Instead of just saying, oh, it'll be in the game, it'll be fine. We'll be, we're making it right. We're optimizing. They didn't just say that and quit. They went into detail about all the different things that were going to go there because they were going to get noticed and they were going to get brought up no matter what. So why not take this message when you have the chance right away, control it, tell people what you're going to do, so it doesn't look like you're trying to hide something.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to them on message delivery. It's totally there. Now, I'm not going to go out and say best cash shop ever or anything like that. Yeah,
there's going to be something. There's going to be something.
There's going to be something at some point. But there's also we have to wait and see, exactly how feasible it is to do some of this stuff while just playing at a normal person's pace. So there may be some considerations down the road after playing the game for a month of this doesn't work as well as I thought it does. But kudos and big thumbs up from me, at least, for the message delivery and the way it seems like they systematically hit all the top 5 hot buttons for Western and European free-to-play players. If they keep that mentality, I don't think they can do too many things wrong, Q.
No, I think they'll be fine. I mean, really listening is just the key point, right? If they actually listen to their players.
On the content side, level cap right now is a stunning 25. It's been a long time since I've seen a number like that as the level cap, which, by the way, as of this recording, I'm halfway to level cap.
How long have you been playing?
Hold on, where's my... Oh, I closed Steam because probably about 3 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, I booted it up just to make sure it was all up and running. Then I wrote the free-to-play cast notes, and then I played for 3 hours, three and a half hours. It slows down right around there. I think in the last closed beta, I got to level 19 before the beta ended. So, yeah, 25, which is kind of weird. But in July, we have another update coming, Q, right?
Yeah, and with it, another level cap increase, actually. So they've already got that planned. I guess it's just partially get it rolled out as quickly as possible with a lower level cap.
Do you think that was what they aimed for here, guys? I was talking to my wife about this one, and okay, so we're level cap 25. In July, we'll get an update that adds a new zone and new content and 10 levels, and then they've teased some of the zones that will come after that. I don't know what the level cap in Korea is, but it feels like to me maybe instead of waiting 8 months, Jason, and releasing, what all the stuff they have in Korea right now, they localized everything to 25, launched the game, and the next update's going to come as they're localizing 25 to 35 right now, push it into the game next month. And I kind of wonder if it doesn't set this expectation of, oh, wow, look at how fast these guys are making updates. That's awesome. This game gets updated every 2 or 3 months. But then once they catch up to the Korean content and it's all localized, all of a sudden you get an update every 6 or 8 months. I don't know if I like the plan here.
I guess the question for me is, what is the end game content? At 25, was there stuff to do, and is that going to be all outdated at 35? And then whatever you do at 35, is that going to be all outdated when they raise it to 40 or 45 or whatever?
I'm going to be able to tell you later tonight.
At this rate, yeah.
At this rate. I am planning on streaming this later tonight because I've got nothing to do tonight. So I'm going to...
You're going to conflict with my streaming plans? You know what I'm playing.
I know, I saw, and ironically, you conflicted with my stream yesterday. I didn't see your tweet.
Oh, you were done. You were done streaming.
Was I done?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw your...
You could just stream together.
Well, it's a little hard, but I'm doing Star Ocean on the PlayStation 4, and he's doing The Witcher on PC. Yeah, those two games, they don't cross-platform. All in all, kudos. Nice job, Riders of Icarus. Do want to plug something real quick here. We don't really plug things, but this is one of our own. You'll probably notice we haven't done Bomb Live in a while. Honestly, it's just, once a week, and it was just a couple of people coming to hang out, so really kind of no point to do it. Even when we upload it to YouTube, it's kind of weird because you're watching a recorded stream and, maybe not as entertaining. So what we're going to do instead, we're going to start monthly community live streams. And so this will be, the first one will be on July 19th from 5 to 7 Eastern Time. 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So I know that's a little late for our European brethren, but it's not, 5 in the morning or anything. You're welcome to come and join us. This month, we will be doing Riders of Icarus. Since it just launched, we thought it was a fitting game. We'll be rolling new characters on the North American server. I'll be there. Jason will be there. I think Zach said he's out because he has some finals or something. Q, you're going to try and be there, provided the move. So we'll all party up and have some fun for 2 hours. Love, love, love for you to come and join us. That'll be on MMOBomb, our Twitch account. So twitch.tv/MMOBomb. North American server, July 19th, Riders of Icarus. So come and hang out. We'll have a lot of fun. Moving on, Jason, we've talked boosts before, but now WildStar is adding one, and the only reason I'm bringing this in is because I know you want to talk about the whole we don't need leveling anymore a little bit and lay out your theory for the public, but also, what do you think about the boost in WildStar? Because in World of Warcraft, makes total sense to me. The game is so old as far as the rest of the market. There's so many levels to go through. Kind of makes sense. WildStar, less than a year and a half later, we're getting a level boost? I don't know. What are your thoughts first, Jason?
Well, it's actually 2 years old. It launched in summer of 14.
I'm going for the free-to-play.
Well, whatever. Yeah, because there's nobody played it before. All that's actually kind of true. But anyway, I don't care. I mean, every game's going to do it eventually. So whenever you do it, doesn't matter. If you have leveling content, it's probably already boring within 6 months of your game coming out. So why not?
Q?
No problem.
What is that noise?
That would be an African gray.
Oh, beautiful birds.
She's very unhappy her boyfriend left the house.
Oh, beautiful birds. Q, what do you think of WildStar's boost?
I mean, I don't know. And like you said, WoW does it, and it totally makes sense for WoW because there's, 100 and some odd levels or something like that. But I don't know. If you're below that many levels, it doesn't really necessarily make sense to me because I've always thought that the leveling process gives you time to learn how to play your character right so that you can actually do the end game stuff by the time you get to end game.
You don't need that much time. Sorry. Go on. Hate that
Well,
excuse.
but even
There's
World of
something they
even
should
World of
not.
Warcraft though does
Hate that excuse.
their little arena challenge thingy. I forget the name of it. I'm just not.
Yeah, they do like a little tutorial thingy when you do
Yeah,
the
where you're required to get certain ranks on these challenges on your boosted character before you can queue up for dungeons. So they do still force you to learn the role here. Here's my thing with WildStar. Jason, I know you hate when people say this. Oh, but it's totally different at endgame. It's totally different at endgame.
Well, that's how just about every MMO is.
But
because-
WildStar is the quintessential, it is totally different at endgame. The leveling is mind-numbingly boring. Mind-numbingly boring. Like, I don't know what it is about the leveling in WildStar because I'm okay with generic just quest grinding, but even WildStar's quest grinding just makes me want to pull my eyes out of my head. And the endgame is so much better that, God, I'm kind of glad this is in there. I just wish they'd give everybody one for free. Just get... You'll have a ton of players stick around if you just said, guys, here you go, Q. Everybody gets a high-level character. Don't give us a dime. Just everybody gets a max-level character because we want you to actually play the fun part of the game and stick around.
You know, here's the funny thing, though. Especially hearing this from you, because I only played like through level 5 on WildStar. Because I just tried it for an afternoon and gave it a little shot. And I kind of enjoyed it. I liked playing around with it. I did about that much in Final Fantasy XIV, and I was ready to claw my eyes out. It was so hopelessly generic. When I finally got to be able to do whatever it is, a guild hest or whatever it is, where I could actually do like a dungeony kind of thing,
Right.
I liked that so much better than another pick 10 flowers, kill 10 rats. Oh my god, how long do I have to keep doing
Right,
this?
but see, here's the difference. In Final Fantasy, you could have continued to level that way if you wanted to. Once you open that stuff up, you can do that if you want to.
I don't know how WildStar is after
Not
that
a
certain
WildStar.
point.
It's
I still
keep
just-
questing, brother.
Okay, all right.
Keep burning through those quests, Q.
What does it say? What does it say, though, about an MMO when you're like, this game is so boring to play that if you would just give us the thing to level us up and get us to the point where we don't actually have to play the rest of the game, we'd get... I mean... like, seriously.
Yeah, and I saw some people arguing in the comments, having the age-old discussion of MMO players that are, you know, our age, late 20s, early 30s, depending on which viewer you're talking about. Oh no, we're in our 30s. I'm in my 30s. I don't know your ages. Actually, I actually don't know your ages.
I'm older than you, I think.
Are you older than me?
Over 30s.
Yeah.
I'm 35. 35. Full disclosure on my side.
I'm 40 tomorrow.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Damn, you got it going on. If you watched my Star Ocean stream, you are mature. Jason doesn't want to give his age. That's all right. That's all right. But okay, so we got a generation argument that was going on then in the comments, and it makes perfect sense. There was somebody that I would assume, again, just making assumptions, is from our generation of MMO players, and somebody that person assumed was from the next generation of MMO players, and they got into this argument back and forth of the whole leveling and progression and stuff that is rewarding, and you new MMO players, you don't get it, you just want to hit the play and win now buttons and everything, and this whole debate going back and forth on it being a generational thing. It ain't. For me, on WildStar, the shit is boring. I don't care what generation you're in.
Well, it doesn't even matter on that case. I mean, as you get older too, right? If you're like, say, the average human being, and you do things like get a job and you know, pop out children and whatever else it is that adults do.
Pop out
Because I don't
children.
behave like a normal adult, so I'm not really sure. But those adult type things, you don't have time for that.
Just
Not to do the boring stuff in a game.
It's not even so much about the time
children.
commitment.
Oh my god, it's awesome.
Here's how I always like to look at
Just
it. It's
punch out a couple of kids.
like, just fly them out, fling them right out. No. The way I look at it is, you know, whenever you see an MMO being advertised, what do they show you? Or you see someone streaming or whatever, you're like, what are you looking at? Oh man, look at these raids. They look awesome. Look at that awesome PvP. Look at all this other cool stuff they're doing. All this cool gameplay and this and that. And then you get into it, and it's like, yeah, you get to do all that stuff after 50 or 60 hours. To me, it's like, and the whole, oh, they just want to skip to the end stuff. Here's how I look at it. I look at it like you look at like a typical PvP game, like a MOBA or World of Tanks or whatever. Again, if you watch someone play that, you're watching them play a World of Tanks match, all right? If you say, hey, that looks cool, you jump into World of Tanks, you do a little tutorial for about 20 minutes or so, and then you get into a match just like that. Now, you're not playing at MLG Pro level like that guy is. You're not using the rank 10 tanks and kicking ass, but you're at least playing something similar to that game. Whereas with an MMO, you see the awesome raid, you don't even get to touch anything like that. Maybe you get to do a dungeon after like 10 hours or whatever, so there's a little bit of that. But you don't get to do the actual cool stuff on any level, even if it's a lower level, even if you don't get the same rewards. I'm not saying you got to get all the same loot and whatever you don't want to try or work, but just being able to do the fun stuff that's being shown off as fun, you don't get to do that forever unless you buy a level boost now. So that's my argument. That's where I get.
Well, I think the thing about it is too, at least for me, they're games. They're supposed to be fun. I mean, I get with the esports and stuff, the amount of work you put in and, you know, stuff like that. I respect all of that, the competitive edge and everything else. But for me, as a player, a game is supposed to be fun. If I'm not having fun within the first few hours, I'm going to go do something else because there's like a million other games I could be playing.
Jason just doesn't want to level. So what's the answer then, Jason? Let me throw it to you for the answer. If you want to make something MMORPG-ish, are you looking at maybe what Elder Scrolls Online is doing with their one Tamriel as the type of solution?
I mean, it's something where you do have to not worry about, you know, the other issue with leveling, of course, is playing with your friends. Yeah, if I'm level 10 and you're level 30, we just can't play together. So that's what a lot of those games have tried to do a little bit of. The thing is, I really have a hard time seeing it be all that viable in a PvE game. Like, I've had trouble trying to figure out how to do that. It works pretty well in PvP games, whether it's stuff I talked about or, you know, my favorite in terms of like level progression is something like PlanetSide 2. I think they do a really great job with that sort of thing. But PvE, especially an MMO, because we all have the notion of an MMO RPG being like an old school RPG where you go around the land questing and doing this sort of thing here and there, and they're all kind of still built on that. But that does have issues because then if you do make everything like the same level, people are going to go to the same spot, farm the same crap over and over to get the best loot. So I understand why they do leveling to give you a sort of progression in terms of being able to get stuff at a certain rate. If you don't do that, people just go back and farm the same stuff over and over. It happened in Guild Wars 2. They've tried to fix it. It's, you know, sort of okay. They sort of tried, and it doesn't work out that great. So I could see the issues there, and I have never really figured out what a proper way to do that in a standard PvE MMORPG is.
Pay X dollars for a boost.
Oh,
Boom,
sure.
done.
That's the way to do it, yeah.
Boom, done. Final Fantasy XIV may be adding something like this, too. They haven't really fleshed the whole idea out. It could be just an experience booster or level booster or a max level boost or something. Yoshi P just kind of alluded to it and was asking for feedback on that type of thing. Dear God, don't add it. Although Final Fantasy does suffer from a pretty fatal flaw in that all the next content that keeps coming out is severely gated by having to finish this main story scenario and do certain previous things to open it up. And it is a bit daunting for new players, even returning players that have been out for 4, 5, 6 months. It's sometimes a turnoff there, so I think they got to figure something out there. All right, before we head over to the bombs, the last thing today, Master X, Master MXM, the PvE and PvP game from NCSoft, had its first round of public alpha access. It was supposed to be scheduled for a weekend. I think by the time it was all said and done, the game might have been up for about 12 hours total. Somewhere around there. Finally did get the first look out, so if you haven't checked it out, head on over to mmobomb.com, check out the first look there. It did not do the MOBA match because there's already tons of videos on those, so I linked a match, the official NCSoft match for you, but we did cover every other mode in the game. PvE, I guess, is best summed up as what? A dungeon crawling type, Diablo type experience. That isometric camera, multiple abilities. Deathmatch PvP is exactly what you'd expect. 2 teams of 3 or 5 go and duke it out, and kill count wins. and abilities, modifications, lots of masters. Jason, on the masters front, we had seen teases of Guild Wars 2 characters and WildStar characters and Lineage characters, Lineage 2 and Ion characters in there. Going through the roster of masters that you can pick from, they kind of make cameos. Don't mistake this for like a Smash Brothers thing where it's all the iconic characters from every franchise smashed in there. There's a lot of new characters and then a smattering of these IP-related ones, right?
Yeah, and that really kind of disappointed me. I was expecting even more of the Smash Brothers, something like Heroes of the Storm, with the MOBA kind of feel to it too, and being all the Blizzard's properties. And yeah, I mean, I think if you got all those characters and you can use them, if they're part of your, unless you have to, I mean, maybe they have to pay ArenaNet a certain amount of money or give them something to use their stuff, or Carbines. Maybe that's the reason they didn't use those things nearly as much. I think there's only one character.
They didn't even use theirs a lot, though.
Yeah, I think there's only one of each of those games, whereas there was a little more from Lineage and Ion, the core NCSoft stuff. So maybe there's something in the licensing part of that makes them have to give over some kind of fee. But to me, that was the big appeal of it. I mean, I wanted to play more than just Ritlock. I wanted to see what other kind of Guild Wars or Guild Wars 2 characters are going to be in there. And I suppose WildStar fans want to see more than Mondo Zack. So yeah, it kind of disappoints me that a lot of them are just generic MOBA characters.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going to add some over time, but it was a heavy preponderance of new characters versus these classic, more NCSoft established characters. Q, on your side, as far as being a MOBA and enjoying MOBAs, how do you feel about the one, I think it's fair to say, the one really unique feature in MXM, which is the tag out ability? You don't just pick a hero and go. You pick two masters that complement each other, and you can swap between those two as you're going. So if your master's almost dead, you can swap to the other one. Your guy will get a break, and he'll actually regen health while you take another master out for a spin. Then they may complement each other abilities-wise. I actually felt like it added quite a bit of another layer of strategy to the MOBA experience.
I think because it's actually I mean, it's not obviously not 100% like it, but it's kind of similar to the thing in Overwatch, right, where people can swap out their characters when they get sent back to the start area after they die. They can swap out to a different one, and there's huge issues going on in Overwatch right now of people just continuing to play the same character and not cooperating with their team members and being like, oh, so you switch to this, I'll switch to this to complement what's going on, or paying attention to the other side and going, oh, this is what they switched to. So since you pick it out already, I mean, it almost seems like, double the effort to make sure that everybody on the team is on the same point. Like, okay, these are what we're all starting with, and kind of putting it together to make sure that they've built a solid team of, I guess, 4 characters instead of 5, even though I don't know exactly how it's going to work out, but I think it does add an extra level of complication to the entire game.
She's all concerned about the meta. Wow.
It saved my life a number of times, controlling essentially 2 characters. So it's not, even though they say it's 3v3, it's technically 6v6 at that point, with each player carrying 2 masters. Some unique things as far as, well, not unique, but other aspects of the game on the PvE side. Obviously, there's difficulty ranking, and you can get S and A, B, C, and extra rewards that way. And if you rerun certain dungeons on enhanced difficulties, it's not just everybody has more HP and hits harder. There's maybe new monsters, new bosses, new mechanics for old bosses. There's a lot going on in MXM, but I think at the end of the day, it's just not something I'd play a lot of. And it's not because it does anything particularly bad, well, besides the server stability, but it was alpha, so we'll set that totally aside for now. That's the point. But it didn't grab me in any way, Jason.
I'd like to see what other PvE modes it has, because I'm totally over PvP and MOBAs. Just too much toxicity in that. But I liked watching a little bit of the stuff you were doing. I thought the challenge wasn't that great. I thought that was a bit of an issue. I know there were different levels you could go up to, but seeing you beat those AI guys 22-2, I think it was.
Yeah.
Not really breaking a sweat, barely even using your special abilities. Yep. I wasn't a fan of that. I did look like the different ways you could unlock characters, though. It wasn't just like a lot of games, buy up, earn up currency and then unlock them. I thought they were like challenges to play with other certain combos or whatever to get that. So that was kind of interesting to me as well. It's something I could see myself maybe looking into it if the PvE mode is a little more rich than maybe what it looked like in your
I
previous.
actually see this as a game you'd probably like, knowing that you dabble in Marvel Heroes 2016. And I think it does a lot of what Marvel Heroes 2016 does, but does it better or does it in a more interesting way. So I kind of see you
Well,
maybe digging
it's
this
a different
one.
kind of game. I mean,
Yeah.
Marvel Heroes is really more RPG. This is more like an arena-based kind of thing. So
But at the end of the day, the PvE is isometric dungeon crawling. Come on.
yeah.
Q, something stick out for you, or is this a no-go for you, or a meh?
It's kind of a meh. I feel like just kind of watching it that it almost feels like they're just trying to do too many things at once.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I think that's my biggest issue with it because I love dungeon crawlers and the dungeon crawler aspect looked okay. It looked fun for a little while, but it's like I don't know. It looks like it's trying to be too many games at once.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It was actually surprisingly polished. Again, besides the server stuff, and the gameplay was fun, but it just didn't catch me. It didn't. There wasn't a hook there that dug into me. I don't want to rate it at this point, it being alpha. I mean, an awful lot can change by the time this starts. But it sounds like out of the three of us, Jason, this one's probably closer to your cup of tea than anybody else's. And Q and I, we seem to be just, okay. Yeah, if a bunch of friends said, hey, let's play this tonight, we'd play. But it's not something we'd play by ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, I want to see it when it comes along later. I'm definitely not looking to jump in right now.
Yeah, and it does have a long way to go. All right, let's slide over to the weekly bombs, but let us know how you felt about MXM and your impressions of it if you got to play it or you checked out the first looks. I was surprised by the number of comments of people that said, A, they didn't even know what this was, that this was a thing, but then B, people that did know were surprised that this wasn't exactly what they thought it was going to be. I think they expected just a heavy focus on the MOBA side, and so, all right, weekly bombs, let's do it. Q, you're up.
Well, I'd have to give a nice solid A-bomb to AT&T's lovely internet service because I've spent probably 3 hours at least on the phone with them over the last week trying to get my internet to work properly.
Yipes. I'm going to drop an A-bomb, too. I'm going to give an A-bomb to every game's summer costume contest. Every single one is running one. Not being terribly skilled in art design, drawing, don't have any particularly good eye for fashion, particularly female fashion. I'm not winning a costume contest anytime soon, so fuck your event. So A-bomb to that. Go ahead, Jason.
I need a summer vacation writing contest. So that would be great.
That would be great.
Yeah.
What I did on my summer vacation. Let me do that.
Okay. I'm going to give a dub-bomb to Witcher 3, which somebody bought for me a couple weeks ago. Finally got a chance to play it last night. Streamed it for about 3 hours. But I give it A-bomb to Witcher 3 because there's just a whole lot there and it's going to take up way too much of my time.
Right. But the fact is, you want to do it now.
Yeah,
you want to do it. Yes! From the viewers, Toll Short says, "Da bomb to Atlas Reactor." I did not see this one coming. It's more fun than I expected it to be. Simple and complex at the same time. A good time killer and easy to jump into. Definitely worth a shot. I know. Try on. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. At Mike, Harry Potter wasn't really worth the time invested to see all the movies. The ending was lackluster and predictable. I'm going to stay away from that. I just want it known on the record that it was Toll Short that said that, not me. I am reading a viewer's question and feedback. And I totally agree with everything Toll Short says here about Atlas Reactor. I just don't think it should have been a buy-to-play game.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I have Witcher 3 to play now, so I'm not spending money on that.
There you go. Go ahead and take the next one, Jason.
By the way, Mike, you're a muggle. You're very much a muggle.
Okay.
She
Whatever.
has no idea.
I have no clue.
Void says...
Wait! No! I think I know. That's somebody that does not read it or does not use magic in
Not
general.
use magic. There you go.
Okay.
Not use magic.
Yes! 1 for 1. Go ahead, Jason.
Void gives a dub-bomb to Euro 16 for a fantastic, so far, football tournament. But not if I've been reading this is for me now, not if I've been reading what the British people on my Twitter feed have been talking about. Apparently, they got crushed.
Well, they're too busy leaving the EU.
They're too busy leaving the UK. Yeah, exactly.
A funny note on
Leaving
that,
the
did
EU.
you see the report on the number of people searching what leaving the EU means from the United Kingdom after the vote had passed? Stunning.
Educate yourselves, people. Before you vote, educate yourselves.
Before you do something.
So if you are friends in the United Kingdom that did not want this to pass, we are very sorry. And if you are friends in the UK that wanted this to pass, congratulations. Go ahead, Q.
Sky Shadow gives the bomb to ESO to manage to get their friends to play something other than Dota 2. Fucking finally.
Wilfredo Rivera says, personally, I believe Black does... Oh, man. So the next few comments are all about Terra. Because, ironically, even though most of the show we talked about a totally different topic, I thought Terra made a more interesting comment-driven thing, so I named the show after Terra. And, yeah... So there was the range of, yes, Terra is still the action combat king, to Terra was never the action combat king, to it's not now. And the number of people that brought up Phantasy Star Online 2, for God's sakes, man, just drive the stake right into my heart. You're killing me, YouTube, when you do that stuff, because you know I want to get into that game. But alas, it just has not made it to these shores.
Dude, it's not going to happen.
It's not
Just
gonna
give
happen.
up.
So Wilfredo Rivera, I put a couple of the Terra thoughts in here, and again, ironically, there were people that argued Black Desert Online did it better than Terra, and then other people saying, dude, Black Desert Online is awful, Terra's far better than it for its action combat. So the opinions were all over the board. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Thank you all for your feedback, even though I can't read them all on the show. Wilfredo Rivera says, personally, I believe Black Desert Online is the king of action combat. Terra has animation lock in its combat, and it feels kind of stiff and sluggish. Black Desert Online is lightning fast and has animation cancels that allow you to adjust much more fluidly in combat. My music makes me feel like I am a Funukata or fighting like the wind. As for my warrior in Terra, makes me dread using my basic attack. So, somebody that gives it to BDO instead. Jason?
All right, X Rezo says, personally, I put over 500 plus hours into Terra last year, and then Blade and Soul came out, and I've not been into Terra since. Went back on when the Assassin released, didn't enjoy it, got through the tutorial, and went back to Blade and Soul. I think I just got burned out on it. But for me, I enjoy Blade and Soul more than Terra, as it feels better optimized and looks better. I just wanted to point out 500 hours last year comes out to about, 40 hours per month? So still not enough to get the big bonus of Balloons in...
Yeah, I mean, 500 hours is just a little over...
That's not even half.
It's like 1.5 hours per day.
That's not even
like, if
half.
you break it down, it's... wow. Yeah. You're right. 500 hours if you did it in a year.
Not even close.
Wow. Wow. God, in that perspective, that's scary.
It's a lot of hours.
That is scary. Go ahead, Q.
Asian Yeti. I've been hearing a lot of hype about Terra, so I tried it for about 30 hours before I said, welp, that's a game I played before. I might be biased because I've played Dragon's Nest beforehand. When it comes to combat, nothing but combat, Blade and Soul wins over everything for me. Unfortunately, there's a drought of content for PvE, and leveling to peak is just fucking dreadful. But no other game than Blade and Soul makes it feel rewarding to kill something after perfectly pulling off your rotations. So it breaks away from the conventions of the Holy Trinity in MMORPGs, so that's kind of a plus for me.
Yeah, and this was a trend. You know, people were giving it to Black Desert. People were giving it to Blade and Soul. People were giving it to Phantasy Star Online 2. People were giving it to other titles. This was we probably should have actually debated that topic rather than just giving our real quick opinions, because it seems like the viewers wanted to talk about this one all day. More power to you. Love it. Cord Devling says, yes, sadly, Terra is definitely the king. So somebody that agreed with our opinion. I was hoping Blade and Soul could fill the combat void that Terra left me with when I decided to quit, but its combat has nothing on Terra's. The combat is so good that I'm able to ignore the blatantly non-fantasy related cash shop costumes and mounts that they sell, and incredibly people actually buy. But I hope one day some game takes over. I'm hoping for Revelations Online, but the combat seems similar to Blade and Souls. We'll see. Yeah, I think Revelations got an interesting road ahead of it with multiple combat varieties. Question of the week last week: what should Daybreak do with the EverQuest IP? Toll Short says, question of the week: sell it, but only if it's sold to a capable studio with the funds to do the IP justice. Okay, I don't think any company is going to put that qualifier on the end. I think they're just going to go with sell it to whoever gives us the most money. Period. Go ahead, Jason.
Mr. Chris Baker says, question of the week, sell it. You had a very long pause there, so that's why.
That is an ellipses and a half right there. Go ahead, Q.
Smitty the Order. EverQuest would be great to be sold off to a developer that could push the story to a new GFX engine and combat, but that was more like a sandbox. Black Desert Online graphics, combat, and crafting, but not the gear. Upgrading something you have since level 10 isn't setting a good goal for an MMORPG. Could be used for better grouping mechanics along with Dungeon Finder and raid content. Like one really big sentence.
I just saw new graphics engine and combat more like a sandbox. I thought, whoa, so EverQuest next.
Right? Eric DeVille says, feel like Daybreak would be better off selling it off to someone or retiring it completely. I think if it were me, I would retire it completely, which I thought was an interesting little, let's just let it die. I don't think that's an option, do you?
It is if they're going to completely move out of the MMO space. Then again, it's not like, would PlanetSide 2 or DCUO players really be that upset, I guess, now that I think of it? Probably not.
Like, if Sony Online still had it, and Sony said, you know what, it's been a good run, but we don't want to tarnish it, and everything we're trying just isn't quite working. We're going to hold a fan fest and retire EverQuest. Like, I think people would generally be disappointed, but in the end, okay with it. Mm-hmm. I think that, but I don't think Columbus Nova is just going to retire that. They bought that because there's a value to some of these IPs.
But they have to be smart, and they have to know where EverQuest is now. That's not the big, huge, super thing it was 10 years ago.
Right, that's fine, but there's still inherent value there. It may not be trillions of dollars anymore, but there's still inherent value there.
They don't care about inherent value. They just care about value. Inherent value doesn't mean anything to them.
Go ahead, Jason.
Kinetic Fetus is question of the week. I haven't played a ton of EverQuest, but from what I've seen them to it, they need to shoot it in the head and lay it to rest and stop dropping fresh steaming deuces on its legacy. Tell us how you really feel, Kinetic Fetus.
I think he's saying retire it. I'm pretty sure.
Little.
Go ahead, Q.
Teagle2399, not sure if Square wants another MMO with them already having Final Fantasy XIV and Dragon Quest X, but they can handle it. I'd like to see them buy the EQ license. That'd be weird.
Yeah.
That'd be weird. They've shown they have folks that can work wonders with an MMO. I'm sure they could get a new EQ off the ground. That'd still be weird.
That would fuck with my mind. Like, now...
Square is very specific.
Wait, now Square has my Final Fantasy and my EQ? Well, I mean, how... You know what, though? Now that I think about this, Q, take a step back. It's no more of a mind-screwing than when Square and Enix became one company and the people that had Final Fantasy now also have Dragon Quest.
Remember that notion that what Square was going to make an RPG with Disney? What the hell was that about?
Well, that's true, too. You know what? I think maybe I'm talking myself into this idea.
Now, if they just get Phantasy Star Online 2 as well, then you'll be just...
It's not going to happen, but it would be great. It might not be that bad if it did. Sky Shadow says, question of the week, sell it and shut down. To be honest, I only hated Tryon Worlds, but now I hate them even more. Just pack your shit, set the sun, and leave. But before that, sell the games to someone who can handle a game. How did you manage to fuck up more than Tryon? I mean, my God, you managed to kill a game and then send the other one to starvation and hate. You deserve an achievement for most awful fuck-ups in the shortest period of time. Keep that shit out of the game. Wow. Lots of F-bombs on the viewer comments today.
Daybreak's always good for those kind of comments.
So question of the week. WildStar is adding a boost to max level item. We've talked about that item in general before on the show, but I want to know, do you think it's a good idea for WildStar in particular? Because I don't think it's all that bad of an idea, even though it's happening probably a lot earlier than they ever anticipated. Let us know how you feel in the comments below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the comments below. And until next week, Q, where can everybody find you? In a different state at some point.
Yeah, Twitter at Quinlan. Wow, that was hard.
Tweeting is hard. Jason, where can everybody find you?
On Twitter at Winter Informal. Streams at twitch.tv/JasonWinter. Going to be doing more Witcher 3 sometime.
Yeah. I'm Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man. You can follow me on Twitter at MagicMan1, MAGICKMANN1. Or, of course, come on over to MMOBomb.com. Check out all the great articles, first look videos, giveaways. I got one up today. I got 2 more coming later this week. Come on over, check it all out, all the writing that Q and Jason do. Until next time, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.